Hey guys, I'm Bella, the Maker Mama, boss lady behind Fiber and Fox, and this is episode 53 of my podcast. We're doing the weird unedited thing again. We're still in our temporary location. It's in my house, but if you've missed the last couple or you're new, welcome. We're doing some renovations and we've rearranged some things, and I'm not in what would normally be my office, nor is my husband. So if you hear husbands, birds in the background, well, if you hear multiple husbands, I only have one husband, so that's concerning. But yeah, just not the normal situation. So we will return to the normally edited content hopefully very soon, because we've packed everything up and are kind of, I'm not going to explain it every time, but this isn't how it normally looks or sounds. So bear with me. I'm going to do the best I can with no cuts again. Worked pretty okay last time, so I think we're good. But I'm Bella. I'm a crochet designer, and I also knit, and I talk about it here with you guys. So if you're here for that, welcome, thank you, and let's get started. I do have notes this time. I have been going no notes for a little bit because I couldn't find my notebook, but I found it. So episode 53, admin-wise, we're still officeless. We've covered that. The dandelion disperse shawl, which I've decided to finally name it, the one with the dandelions and the stripes and the mohair and all of that, is now with testers when you're seeing this. So hopefully you got a chance to apply if you were interested. I did put up a little notification in the YouTube community post whatever thing. But if you missed this one, it's a great idea to jump on my mailing list, which is always linked down below. Speaking of links, there will be links to anything you need to know about me below the video, as well as show notes over on the blog. Particularly important because usually when I'm editing videos, I put in the titles of patterns and pictures and all sorts of other stuff up on the screen, but without the editing program, which is usually running off my husband's giant computer, which is packed up, I'm not going to be able to put pattern names or pictures up for you. So reference the show notes, link down below in my blog. So hang on. Got microphone fuzzies. Let me get that out of there. Make sure that's not on the screen. Yay for no editing. So the shawl is with testers. I haven't touched the granny square top since last time. You guys had lots of suggestions on how to fix the tassels, remove the tassels, make them more fringe, less fringe, and I'm still, indifferent about it. And I feel like it's maybe just too tight. I don't know. So it's sitting over there, kind of in timeout. I'm also afraid to cut the tassels off because I don't want to mess up the shirt, but I'm also not wearing the shirt, so that's a whole thing. But haven't touched that since last time. So we will revisit that when I do pull it together. What I'm wearing today is the Odyssey cardigan by Ambassador Crochet. It is, I don't know what sizes it runs up to. I think at least up to extra large. I can't remember how inclusive it is on size, but it is a lacy, perfect for summer type cardigan. And yeah, cardigans are where it's at these days. I haven't been able to wear too many of my makes because pregnant, very pregnant. But if you are interested in what I usually do or wear for summer, spring type crochet, and I think there's some knits in there as well, I do have a video that I can link of, I think last year, of my collection, at least at that point. There's sure some more now, but couldn't really refilm because they don't fit me right now. But a collection of my go-to summer crochet and knit projects. So I will link that, and yeah, Odyssey cardigan. It's a good throw over, barely. Mine's in, I think actually the same yarn as the baby blanket we're going to talk about. So it's like a cotton bamboo. It's very lightweight, and it's perfect for, I don't want the air conditioning to touch me, but I'm actually not really cold kind of situation. So I recommend that one. Let's see, finished objects. We got baby blankets. A baby blanket. So last time we had talked about the Be Brave baby blanket, which is a pattern that I designed for my daughter. So this is the original one. This yarn was discontinued. It was Fair Isle. I did look it up. Fair Isle Harbor. I could not find the website any longer, so I'm pretty sure the whole company is just discontinued, gone, done. It was I did some work with them. They were at Joann for a little bit, and I did some designing with them, but it was like a company run by completely not knitters or crocheters. And I don't know if they were an affiliate of any other craft brands, but it doesn't seem like they made it. But I really liked this yarn. This was a cotton bamboo, or cotton and viscose from bamboo or something blend. It's super drapey. This one was sport weight. And I had made this blanket. It's my only knit pattern, but it's super basic. Made it when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I wanted to make one for our upcoming son as well, but I couldn't get that. Obviously, I wanted different colors as well, but couldn't get that same yarn. So I found, oh, do I have tags? I think I might. Yes. I found Yarn Bee Bambootiful, which is a nonsense name. Yarn Bee Bambootiful in the colors, I'll tell you the colors in a second. But this one's actually a DK weight. Definitely a little heavier, but it's also cotton and bamboo, or viscose from bamboo. And nice and budget friendly. And it seems like it's gonna hold up well. This one has held up super well to washing or hand washing, I should say. I'm going to sneeze and that's gonna be great. Yay for no editing. And this one's held up really well to wear. Used it a ton with my daughter, and she's using it currently as a doll blanket. But I wanted to get something similar because I did really like the drape and whatnot. So this Bambootiful stuff was a pretty good sub, but I didn't actually gauge swatch. It's definitely a thicker yarn, but if you're not concerned about the blanket being a little bit larger, then I think it's totally fine. I believe I went up a needle size from what was in my pattern and decreased the stitch count slightly because I didn't want it to be huge, but looking at it now, I kind of wish I hadn't decreased the stitch count. I think I went down to 130 stitches instead of whatever is actually in the pattern, the pattern that I wrote and should know. Yeah, so it ended up, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you size comparison wise, but this one is wider and shorter, and it's also kind of just stretched over time, so it's really not the original dimensions, but wider and shorter than the current one. Let's see if I can hold it up. It's always hard to hold up two things together. And the gauge is definitely different on them. The newer one is a thicker yarn, and it does feel a little heavier, but overall. Oh, actually, after blocking, it's not wider anymore. It was wider before. So with blocking, this one still came out bigger, but it's much longer because I believe in the pattern, each stripe was 6 or 6.5 inches. And I think I went up to 7.5 on this one, just knowing that I had that option. And I still had a bunch of yarn left over, so I kind of wish I went with the original stitch count and then did the 7.5 inches, and I would have had just a slightly bigger blanket. But I used the colors. I believe this was Cognac, Mist, Basil, and Mustard. It's very hard to show a blanket in entirety. This is technically the bottom. This is where we started. We started with the brown and we went up to the yellow. Can we see this? This is normally where I would put in a nice picture or a video or something, a reel, but here we go. So this one is a lot longer. I really can't try and hold it up and show you, but I'm gonna try anyway after I said I couldn't do it. So it's heavier, wider, longer, but I don't really care because it's just a baby blanket. Let's see, where's the bottom of this one? It is yay longer. So the gray stripe is the original one and the brown coming out of the bottom. Yeah. So overall, I think it's a good sub-in if you want to use a bamboo type cotton, but it is just ever so slightly denser. And I think it's still definitely foldable for like a diaper bag or a car blanket or whatever, but just slightly bigger. But I think it came out really lovely. I did block it. Normally I wouldn't block a baby blanket, but because of the cotton and the bamboo, some of my stitches were not as even because I'm working flat. Sometimes my purl rows are a little different than my knit rows. So I did block it out and let it lay out in the sun, and it's lovely. So I need to sew in the ends still. But other than that, I would consider it finished. And yeah, so that will be ready for my baby boy. And we had brought that one to the original one to the hospital with us and taken pictures and stuff. So that's the intent with this as well, to kind of have it be there from the get-go. So I'm excited to have that done. And then I have another baby project. It's not for my baby. It is for a friend who is expecting. And a friend, if you happen to be watching this, this is where you leave. But I have a friend who's expecting a daughter. And I wanted to make, well, I want to make a lot of things actually, but this was one of the things I wanted to make for my friend expecting the daughter. And this is my go-to pattern. I have made, I don't even know, probably at least 4 for my daughter. She's kind of always, maybe 5. She's kind of always had one in rotation since like birth. And I've made a lot. It's my go-to pattern for gifting as well. And I've modified it quite a bit, but I've made it so many times that I can do that. So this is I believe it is just called the Lace Cardigan by Mon Petite Violon. She has absolutely beautiful little girl crochet patterns. I don't think she has any that are particularly boyish or gender neutral. They're all pretty girly and lacy and ruffly. But if you are expecting a little girl or know someone that is, this is a great option. It is modified. I added the ruffly bits. So the basic cardigan is what you're seeing in the pink here, except I kind of made a cropped version and added peplums. That bird is just going to be a feature in this podcast. So I made this for a friend, and I had some yarn in stash. It is some pretty woolly pink wool. This person is going to be okay caring for that. So the pink, I have no idea what it is. It is some deep stash. It may have even been something that I had gotten from my mom. I'm not even sure. I think I've made dryer balls out of it. So it is woolly wool, but it is, soft. But you can see it's got, little wool. You can't see. It's woolly. And then the peplum lacy bits are a cone, which I don't think I brought over, but it's just a cone of, I've talked about it a bunch, from Green Mountain Spinnery. They do mill ends where they clear off the machines and sell super cheap cones of like remnant. So I added in those parts just by doing some intense increases. I think what I did for the bottom, so I had the basic cardigan, ran out of the pink. I had split my yarn into 2, so I made sure I had enough to make 2 equal sleeves, and then kind of just peplumed it from there. I believe I went around a row of single crochet doing an increase in every other stitch to make it flare out and be ruffly, and then I just did like a little picot edging on the bottom of that. Other than that, not too much modification. Actually, that's a lie. I think I did the 6 to 12 month size, but this was a lighter weight, probably more like a sport weight yarn. So this is probably more 0 to 3-ish size. Again, I made the pattern so many times I kind of modify it willy-nilly. But it's a very easy one, and it does, I think, have sizing up to, my daughter has one now still, and she's probably wearing the size 4. So it does go up to at least toddler size. I'm not sure if it has children's sizes as well, but it is a lovely, versatile, easy to modify, easy to shorten, lengthen, widen, add ruffles, edgings, etc. And the buttons, my mother has an impressive button stash. Some of them, at one point when I was probably about, 9 or 10, I wanted to collect vintage buttons. So we had like a giant popcorn tin of buttons. And I had books about button. It was a weird time. So we'd like go to thrift stores and buy old buttons. And my mom has always saved buttons off of any clothing that she isn't like able to donate, or the buttons are really pretty or whatever. She cuts them off. So she has a lot. I don't know what like measurement size. Not quite like a 5-gallon bucket, maybe like a 3-gallon bucket worth of buttons. And a lot of them are just completely random. And maybe they have matches, but you have to find them in the 3-gallon bucket. So I've been trying to sort some out by color into like glass jars, because 1, it looks pretty, and 2, it's just easier to go through and kind of sort of find matching ones. But I really like doing not matching when I do this pattern. And you can modify the buttons to any amount that you want. It doesn't really have a button band. It has just loops. So you don't have to do any crazy calculations as far as button placement. And you can put any amount down. I've done them all the way down the front. I've done just 3 on the top. I think the original pattern has 3. But these are just some plasticky, vintage, fun flower looking buttons. So I blocked this, and it's going with probably other gifts as well. But yeah, really great little girl go-to cardigan pattern. I think that's all I had to say about that one. Yes, I will link all of the patterns and information, and I mean, I can't link that yarn in particular, but things that I can link will be linked in the show notes if you want links to patterns and visuals and all of that. And again, we will return to normally on the screen named content soon, hopefully. All right, we got sock cast on. And I promise I'm not normally like this frazzled by podcasting, but just having everything not where it belongs and not really knowing where any of my stuff is right now, kind of having a vague idea of where my stuff is. It's not my favorite. I like things to be well organized. We're at the point where the 2 offices that we're renovating, or they're technically bedrooms, but we're not using them as bedrooms. They're downstairs in our house. Renovating right now. They're done, but we have to let the new floors cure, the hardwood. So we're very close to moving in and reorganizing things, but another couple weeks probably. I keep saying maybe the next episode, but it ends up being longer. So maybe episode 54. We'll see. But I cast on another pair of socks because I didn't have any socks on my needles last episode, and that was weird because you kind of always need socks. So these are incredibly woolly, like maybe the woolliest thing I've ever created. Again, using some cones. I think I had talked about them last time we stopped at Green Mountain Spinnery again in Putney, Vermont, and they sell these cones for, I think it's 32 cents an ounce. So I ended up getting this darker gray one, and then some other whites that were like a 2 or a 3 ply for like less than $3. So I have a bunch of these cones, and they're not great on their own, but they are great to add into things. They are very, very thin, like super thin lace weight, and they do have a lot of spots where I don't know if I can find one to show you, but they definitely vary in thickness, and there's a lot of times breaks in the yarn because it's what they're cleaning off the machines as they've already wound whatever quantities they need for actual 100-gram skeins. These are remnants. Normally they're going to ply them together. I have a mill tour. You can go watch the video. I don't know enough about this stuff, but they ply them together, and then these are like the remnants that they sell for super duper cheap. But they're completely mystery wool quantities, completely mystery amounts, super cheap, but it's a guessing game. So you can't really hold them by themselves. Unless you were doing maybe like a lace shawl or something, but it wouldn't be ideal for a garment because this is basically single ply because it hasn't been plied together. So I'm holding the 2 grays double, and then when I get to the heel and the toe, I'm planning on holding nylon thread, like sewing, quilting thread. It's just some more gray, which is going to be a pain because that's like 3 strands of tiny stuff, but I'm going to hold some gray thread in with the heel and toe. For durability, I had talked to Kate at the mill when I did the tour, and she had said that's one thing you can do to kind of sure it up for socks. I might do it along the base of the foot, but that just sounds like I'd have to be doing intarsia or something, and I don't care to do that. So we'll see how these hold up. I do really like a woolly sock, but I'm just worried about the durability of, because it's not technically plied. I'm just holding them double, but hopefully there's some strength here. I don't know. If not, it's something to knit on, and it's super cheap. But this is the Juniper Grove sock pattern. The birds, man, they're having fun out there. Juniper Grove sock pattern by the Blue Mouse Knits. I've had this pattern for quite some time. It was free. I don't know if it's still free. Again, I will link it in the show notes for you, but it's a very pretty textured, I mean, I've only done, that much, but very pretty textured ribbed sock, which I love the fit of. And Emily has I don't know if she still does, had a bunch of free sock patterns, and then also I think she's just started putting up like a sock knitting course on her YouTube channel. So if you're interested in getting started on sock knitting, the pattern itself is very thorough. There's a lot of visuals in it and like just charts and schematics and things. If you haven't knit socks before, that I think this would be a pretty good place to get started. And also I haven't watched the YouTube videos, but I know she's generally a pretty good teacher of things. So maybe check out the Blue Mouse Knits, the Blue Mouse, one or the other, linked in the show notes on YouTube for some sock resources. And if you like the idea of sock knitting and want to get started, I do have 2 videos about my collections of socks from 2020 and 2021. And in both of those, I kind of cover tools that I love and resources if you want to get started knitting socks, where to look for some free like courses and all of that. So I will link those for you as well. What else do I need to tell you about? Oh, I guess that's it for whips. I'm kind of still very stuck on what I'm making next. I have the yarn for the Ruana design, which I'll probably start on next week now that I have the shawl into testing. I like to get people started on the testing, make sure nothing tragic is going to happen where I have to remath everything, and then start another design. It was a little disheartening as I was like doing the files and stuff for the dandelion dispersed shawl. Like I have them all organized on my laptop by like year in designs, by like 2020 designs, whatever. So I had no folder for 2022 designs, and this is the first design, and it's June now. But I've been designing a baby, so that's been different. But I hope to have the shawl pattern out by end of July, beginning of August. And this Ruana thing, I don't know. But we'll at least have a shawl pattern out for the year, and we'll see if I get anything else done come fall. I'm looking forward to the adjustment that'll be from our family, from going from our toddler daughter to a toddler and an infant, but I don't know how any of that works, and it really just overwhelms me sometimes. So we'll figure it out. I'll crochet in there somewhere. But yeah, I have some acquirings. I did film a vlog, which I cannot edit due to the fact I do not have the editing program on my husband's computer. But hopefully in the next 2-3 weeks or so, you'll be seeing that. We did a day trip. My mom, sister, and my daughter and I went to Granby, Connecticut. I do have a video from last year when we went to Margie's Yarn Crafts on the I-91 shop hop. I have a whole playlist of vlogs and local yarn stores and events and things that I've been to if you're interested in that. But I think it was August last year. So I filmed them all ahead of time, but the shop hop happens in, I think, the first week of August or so. It runs from Connecticut up to Vermont, up Interstate 91, and it was 9 or so yarn shops that were participating. So I filmed interviews and tours of each one of the shops, and Margie's was one of them. And it's in Granby, Connecticut, and we had wanted to go back, and we're kind of waiting for a nice day so we could sort of make a day of it, because it's a little bit, I am in Connecticut, but it's a little bit of a haul for us. So we went up last week, and I filmed all these bits of us going to the yarn store, going to there's a state park with waterfalls, so we went there, a restaurant that we like, ice cream shop, and just kind of all hanging out in Granby for the day. So I will have a vlog of that as soon as I can put the pieces of the vlog together, because you can't really do a no-cut vlog. But hopefully that'll be coming soon. And I do mention all of these in the vlog from Margie's, but I wanted to show you quick for content's sake, because I am on a mohair kick. I don't know what to do with the mohair, but I'm on a mohair kick. Now this is where it's going to get ranty and complainy, and I'm going to need suggestions because I want to make things with mohair. I put mohair in the crochet shawl. It's absolutely glorious. I want to knit myself a mohair top. I don't think I want a crochet mohair top, but maybe. But I think I want to knit. I don't want to design a crochet top with mohair right now, because I'm still wrapping my mind around the mohairishness of it all. But I also don't have the brain power for garment design. So I want to follow somebody else's pattern for a knit mohair garment, or a garment that I can knit in mohair. And then there's the matter of things fitting me right now, because, you know, body shape's very different when you're very pregnant. And yes, so I've ranted about that extensively in the last couple, so we'll skip that rant, but I cannot decide what I'm going to knit with this mohair. So I got this absolutely glorious, it's not showing, there we go. It is like purple black, like the deepest plum. This is like my favorite shade of purple, and I could not say no to it. It is Madeline Tosh. Focus, Madeline Tosh, and I believe Impression is the mohair line. And the color is, I think, Tiensen pepper. I'm not positive on how to pronounce that, but if there is a pepper that is this, can you please, camera? Hello? No, you don't want to talk about that? There we go. If there is a pepper that is this color somewhere in nature, I need to be growing that, because it's absolutely beautiful. Like, seriously, look at that. I'm trying Camera is having a hard time today. It's showing up maybe a little darker on screen, but yeah, it's like plum black. And I love it so much. So it's 70% mohair, 30% silk, 420 yards to 384 meters, or 384, I think it's a 50 gram skein. That's typically what mohair is. Lace weight, you know. So she had this one skein at Margie's. Margie had this one skein. And lots of other mohair, but I was like, oh, this purple, I need this purple. And 50 grams is not enough to make a garment for an adult sized person. And I was like, where did you have any more of this color? I didn't really want to like order more because the dye lot would be different. So she had one other that was a different dye lot. And then she was like, actually, I just knit a ranunculus in this color and I have some remnant and I will sell it to you at like she like did a gradient on the price as far as like what was left. So she sold me the remnant amount. I forget how many grams this was, but this is hopefully enough to make a short-sleeved cropped something or another top for myself. My camera is threatening to overheat, which is not good news for the no edit podcast. So hopefully it chills out here in a second. Otherwise we're going to have some trouble. But yes, she made a ranunculus, which is, I feel like everybody's go-to mohair. The ranunculus, you can like knit it in any weight or something, and it's by Midori Hirose, I believe. Incredibly popular, long sleeve versions, short sleeves, cropped. Like you can do a lot with the pattern, and a lot of people hold it double with mohair, do it single with mohair, do it in like all different kinds of yarn weights. You've probably seen it. I can't put in a picture for you, sorry. But it's a yoke, circle yoke knit top that has been very popular for years. And I like it. I don't know if I love it. Like, I don't generally like a yoke. Usually I like a raglan fit or a drop shoulder fit if I'm going to do a sweater, but I feel like for lace and mohair, yoke is the way to go. And I know people have made it in about 100 grams or so of mohair, so it could be done, but I don't know if it's the pattern for me. Like, it has these like crisscrossy stitches, and I don't know if I love them. I don't love a yoke fit on me. Another one that people do a lot is the Love Note by Tin Can Knits, and that's just like a leafy lace pattern, but I don't like where the lace hits on that one. In general, I have an issue with yoke sweaters, either colorwork or lace, where the like pattern ends like mid-chest, because I just feel like that's a weird spot. And for larger chested people, I feel like it doesn't look super great. So I prefer that the yoke just like be up here, or that it would continue like down into the sleeves and like go under your chest. The mid-chest look is not my favorite. And I found like the most beautiful, at least in the pictures, mohair pattern through Inga of Knitting Traditions podcast. And it's a pattern by Sanne Skarn, which is a Norwegian yarn company. So they put out like booklets or little magazines for yarn support for their yarns. And it's this beautiful, similar to the ranunculus in fit, but longer in the yoke. It looks like it has some cables in it. It doesn't have any crisscross stitches. And she's making one with just mohair, I believe, and it's beautiful. So beautiful. And I am having a real hard time accessing the pattern. It's not on Ravelry. Sanne Skarn sells the booklets themselves, physical booklets. I don't think they have digital versions. If somebody knows of a digital version, please let me know. The physical booklets in stores throughout Europe and stuff there. I think there are some people who are distributors here, but it would be a whole hassle to hunt it down. So the whole booklet has like 15 patterns, but it's only like $7, which is a great price. But I'm looking at these like dealers, yarn stores in like Finland and stuff, and it's going to be like $22 to ship the pattern booklet from Finland for the one pattern. I don't really want to make any of the other pattern. I just want this one pattern. And like Sanne Skarn has the patterns all listed on their website, but not for like download. So it's just like a catalog of their patterns, and then it's like, go buy the booklet. So the sweater is called the Jules Genser, which I think translates to sweater. The pattern books themselves are in English in German, not Norwegian. I'm a little confused, but I believe it is a Norwegian company. But yeah, you can't get them on Ravelry, and I don't think you can digitally download them anywhere. So I don't want to pay $30 to ship a booklet of patterns when I only want the one pattern to make a sweater, because that's a little ridiculous. But I really, really want that Jules sweater. It's so pretty. I wish I could put in a picture. Go to the show notes. You won't be sorry. But if anybody has any leads on how I can access this, I would love to know, because I want to make this top in mohair. Or if you have any other thoughts on mohair tops that I could do short sleeve, they're probably yoke, but maybe a longer yoke, cropped so that it fits pregnant and not pregnant. I don't know. I really want to use mohair, and I could hold on to it until like next year, but like I want to use it now. I also just ordered from the last Fiber for the People update. I ordered 2 skeins of sable, which is like a black with a green undertone. So I'm clearly into the dark mohair colors. And I use that color algae from Fiber for the People in my shawl, and I'm just really feeling the mohair. Mohair, more problems. I said I would never use it, and now I just want to use it, but I don't know what to use it on. So I need suggestions other than the ranunculus and the love note. Samantha Guerin just put out something that looks kind of feathery, kind of leafy, but I think it's fingering weight, but I could probably do it in mohair. I don't know. I'm not experienced a lot in lace knitting in general. I've done a couple things, but not a yoked sweater, like a bottom up kind of lace thing. So I don't know. I need suggestions, and give me all of your mohair ideas. I don't want to hold it double. I just want to use mohair and make super drapey, see-through, fuzzy things. So those are my thoughts. I did get some other things from Margie's as well, but I will just show you real quick and then save it for the vlog, I guess. We got buttons. We got a barber cord. It's that thing that you slip onto your needles to try on your garments, like your mohair yoke sweaters. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm looking forward to it. And then Margie gifted my daughter a cat button. She had a container full of buttons and let her pick one out. So stay tuned for that vlog. I'm going to wrap this up here because my camera is flashing the "it's getting hot" sign at me, and it will cut off at any moment. So thank you for joining me for episode 53. Hopefully by episode 54 we smooth things out a little bit, but again, access the show notes and doing the best I can. Wanted to keep the content coming, so hopefully this is working for you guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sticking with me through the renovations and the ramblings and the pregnancy and just all of it. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys.